It is the Michigan Football Report here live on National Signing Day, presented by the Fetch Rewards app. Folks, trust me on this one. Go get the Fetch Rewards app. Take your receipts, scan them, and get free gift cards. It's the best app out there. Chatsports.com/fetch. Use that promo code Michigan for 3,000 bonus points. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to go over today. There's some gum in here. Actually, I forgot to take that out. I'm going to swallow it. That's what she said. So we're going to let the audience build up here on YouTube, the Michigan Football Report. We've not been live for a few weeks, but today is the right day. Hell, if it wasn't signing day, we probably still would have done live with all the Jim Harbaugh latest news, rumors, Michigan coaching search, and just really going to talk about some recruits. But I want to talk to you guys later about the top 10 candidates for the job. I think that it's an ever-changing list, and frankly, I'm probably going to put out a new list every 2 or 3 days until a new coach is named, but that is the latest. So we're going to let the audience build up here. Want to go through a bunch of different questions, just kind of answer them. Let's get the live chat flowing so more Michigan fans see this video over the next 7-8 minutes before we get started with the content. So give me your one-word reaction in the live chat of Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan. If you missed it last night, a report from thewolverine.com, Chris Ballas. He's been on the beat for over 20 years. He was, very one of the best guys following the Harbaugh situation 7 years ago from San Francisco to Michigan. I think it's pretty clear he has a strong contact in and around Jim Harbaugh himself. He's reporting that Jim Harbaugh's trip that maybe it could have happened as late as last night. There is some speculation that Harbaugh actually went to Minnesota last night, not this morning, and was in the facility bright and early for his interview. Funny enough, the Vikings had a 9-hour interview with the Giants DC yesterday. Kind of a weird thing if Jim Harbaugh is really your guy, but give me your one-word reaction. Mine was bittersweet, right? Harbaugh didn't achieve everything we thought he would, and so a year ago I was calling for him to be fired. I'm sure a lot of you guys were too, but then he turned it around. Then he achieved all those things we hoped he would get in years 2, years 3, years 4. In year 7, saw the opportunity, and now he is off to the NFL. He's going to likely accept the Vikings head coaching job today. Whether it's official today, we're not sure. Could become official tomorrow, or they might just let it sit out there. Harbaugh comes back, says his goodbyes to the players, and then maybe returns Friday morning for a press conference. But we will see. So a lot of one-word reactions coming in from everybody. Keep those going. Mine, bittersweet. Let me know yours. All right, type Go Blue if you're a Michigan fan. Recently on the show, we've gone live. We have been bombarded with the haters from other fan bases. I had some Georgia folks in the comments for a few weeks in and around the game. Ohio State fans, even had some Penn State fans in there. So make sure we are repping Michigan. So type Go Blue and see the comments in there. If you're a fan of another team and you just came here to talk some trash and you put your team in there, I'm just going to ban you. No, just kidding. But let's see who's Doug says bittersweet, by the way. That's his one-word reaction. Charles with a Go Blue. Matt also gives me a Go Blue. So keep it flowing here, folks. We are just get started. The Go Blues are flowing. Jacob Fenton, Darnell. Doug says Go Blue. Megadone Speed, Tom Brady to Michigan, Michigan's head coach. That's a fact. Coming up later in the show, we're going to give you the top 10 candidates. Could a former Michigan great NFL legend be part of that? Maybe it's Tom Brady. Stay tuned with us later in the show for that. Depressed from Vince on the one-word reaction. Steve says Go Blue. Some Go Blues from Denton, Jason, Jacob, Leon, Phil Johnson. Give me a Go Blue as well. So keep those going. I have 160 folks watching live within 2-3 minutes of going of this show started. So we will keep building that audience up. Hey, let's get to 1,000 live as fast as we can. But let's see where people are watching from. Shout out your city in the comments. I want to, I'll give you guys some shout outs, let you know where the audience are here as we're letting the audience build up. If you've never watched a live show here at Chat Sports, the Michigan Football Report, we're going to keep asking you guys these questions for about the next 6 or 7 minutes until 10 after the hour. Then we'll get started with today's top stories around Jim Harbaugh. There's potentially a coach that's emerging that could end this coaching search within a matter of days I want to talk about. And then we're going to talk recruiting, talk Michigan football coaching search. And then, in my top candidates, in between that, we're going to do a couple audience Q&As, a question and answer session. You guys ask questions. I will answer them. So we'll be with you for about the next 75-ish minutes or so. So shout out your city. I'm going to go through those in a bunch. As I was talking about that, we got a Go Blue from Grand Rapids, Michigan, from Lions Fan 02. Dearborn Heights, Big Bay, Michigan, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Lexington, Kentucky, Brighton, Michigan, Columbus, Ohio, go Blue. Chicago, a foot of snow. Canton, Ohio, right near where I grew up, about 45 minutes away from there. Tecumseh, Michigan. East Windsor, New Jersey. Mansfield, Ohio. Atlanta, Georgia. San Bernardino, Linden, Michigan. Macomb, Michigan. Cleveland, Ohio from Sean, but go Blue, he says. Youngstown, Ohio, where my wife grew up, a little outside of Youngstown, a little town called Camel, Ohio. Gilbert, Arizona. Ken Ross says go Blue from Carolina Shores, North Carolina. Saw Howell in there, downtown Cleveland. London, Canada. Surprised to know, lives in London and Canada. I thought it was just in England, but apparently there. Jack Good, Dallas, Texas. That's where we are here at Chat Sports. Downtown Dallas, which is going to start getting hit by some serious rain, sleet and maybe freezing rain, ice here in the next about 4 or 5 hours, and then expected to keep the kids out of school. They've already canceled schools Thursday and Friday. We don't know if we're going to make it. We don't know if we'll make it in the office here on Thursday or Friday. We'll see from that. Matthew says, love your show. Thank you, Matthew. Scott Y says, go Blue. And then a Boston from Ryan T. Alex, Rochester, Michigan. All right. A few more minutes of the build-up. Let's get the audience flowing up to 215 Michigan football fanatics live here in the Michigan Football Report. It's National Signing Day. What season did you become a Michigan football fan? I think the one I have memories of, 1991, right? I don't want to, not trying to age myself. I wasn't even born then, right? But I do remember distinctly, my dad and my family being really excited about the Heisman Trophy campaign of one Desmond Howard. So I do have some memories of a game or two that year, and most potentially notably, I do have like a very little memory of watching the Heisman ceremony in that December 1991 season. So let's see what season you guys became fans. Got 97 from Gregory. Garrison, 1991 from me. Same, there you go, Marcus. Same with you. 2006 from Nick. 1977 from Phil Johnston. Let's see who else we have in there. 1990. You like human? Andrew Arnold Jordan. Now, I'm not going to show it, but I'm going to read it. He goes 1990, and then he asks the question: do you like human horse penis in face? What is this guy? I should just cancel that guy. Arnold Johnson. He asked if I like human. I don't know. It's really weird, really comment. I wanted to read that one. 87, 82, 87, 91, 2009. What a year to be a Michigan fan with Rich Rod coming off a 3-8 season in 2008. 87, 82. Here we go. 2009. That was the same one. 2010. Mickey B says, never a fan. Sorry, dude. Well, hey, thanks for coming in and joining in the 230 people who are watching live. Click ads. Go to Manscaped. Check out Fetch Rewards. Support the show even if you are not a Michigan football fan. Follow me on Twitter. I'm just asking you to do everything. Subscribe. Post notifications. Shout outs to you. Justin, 2010. And then 24-12, the win over Ohio State, 1969, coming in from Terry N. 99 from the Bowman Investment Group. How about this one? Marcus Willis says David Shaw for Michigan's coach. I don't think that one's happening. And then Justin, 2010, Marcus, 1975, Antonio, 2003, and Ken Ross says F you to Ohio State in there. Last question before we get the show rolling. It is 2:09 p.m. Central, 3:09 Eastern. Who will be the Michigan football head coach in 2022? If you didn't see on the channel last night, folks, I put it out there that Chris Ballas of thewolverine.com he's putting it out there. He's the first to report it, and I have no doubt that his sources are true, and he feels very strongly that Jim Harbaugh's interview today was not, whether he's going to get the job. It was a formality that they had verbalized it, and he's going up there to shake the deal, check out his new home, and he's going to be the new head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. So who will be Michigan's coach next year? Jacob says Matt Campbell. Justin Horling says Josh Gaddis. I don't know about that one. We'll see on Josh Gaddis. They say no David Shaw. I saw Bill Clark. I don't even know who that is. That the UAB coach. Got it. Les Miles with a smiley face. That's funny. Josh Gaddis. Another one. Matt Campbell. Matt Rule. Bill Belichick. A lot of rumors out there. Bill Belichick, is he texting things to coaches to try and get fired so he can take the Michigan job? I don't know. People are talking. And that person's just me. I made that up just now. So let me know who you think. Long shot, Luke Fickell. People are saying it's a long shot because, hey, he's going to hold out for the Ohio State gig. But he's younger. He's older than Ryan Day. So unless Day is going to go to the NFL too or get fired because he keeps losing to Michigan, I don't know if that job will open up for him. Tom Brady, Mark Stoops, Matt LaFleur, Sean Payton, Matt Rule, Josh Gaddis, Kyle Wittenhouse. Whittingham, yeah, okay. So there's like Kyle Ritting, yeah, I think it's Campbell, Fickell, McDonald. That's kind of a weird one because I thought Mike McDonald might have been the type of candidate that would have been really interesting for internal hire if he'd not taken that Ravens job. Could still hire him, I guess. Luke Fickell, Tom Brady, Brian Flores, very doubtful. He's suing Stephen Ross, so I highly doubt that. Tom Herman, and then Luke Fickell is what my sources say from Gary Klein. I like this one from Ryan Barron. James Yoder. That's maybe, never know. You never know. Let's get the likes on this video. 300 folks watching right now. We'll keep this bad boy build up at 48 likes. Producers in the air say, Yoder, you got a low view to like ratio, so you've only got about 1 out of your like to view ratio, but 1 out of 6 people have liked it. So let's get to 100 likes, right? That'd be 1 out of 3 then. Let's double it at 48 likes with 300 people watching. Now we're at 58. Now we're at 62. So let's keep it rolling here. Let's see if you guys can get us up to 100 likes, and we will get the show rolling with the latest on Jim Harbaugh. What he was doing in the office on Monday. There's some kind of scandalous stuff that I don't necessarily agree with, if true, still in the rumor category. We're going to talk about the staff members who I think are going to leave with Jim Harbaugh to Minnesota. And there's a candidate that has emerged that is rumored to have already spoken with Michigan in some form, either back channeling or potentially even direct contact. So I'll talk about that here coming up in a second. We hit the 100 likes. I'm bringing up the other one. We're at 685 right now, 89. I gotta bring up the real-time likes. Okay, I got the real-time likes up here now. 100 likes. We have done it, folks. So we are going to talk all those things, Michigan football coaching hot board, and go over some recruiting, take your questions. It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports coming up right now. The Michigan Football Report is presented by Fetch Rewards. It's the app. You walk out of the store, you scan your receipt, boom, we've got points sitting there, free app. You build up some of those points, folks, get to 10,000 points. You have yourself enough to get a free $10 gift card and more from great stores like Amazon, Starbucks, Target, etc. Fetch, chatsports.com/fetch, free. Use promo code Michigan, 3,000 bonus points if you use that promo code Michigan. Go download it right now. All right, let's jump into today's show. We're going to talk about a lot of things around Jim Harbaugh, but this first portion of it is going to talk about what we know from the last couple of days. Before we do, though, go follow me on Twitter. If you haven't yet, here's an opportunity to follow me and then also get a follow back. So throughout this show, I'll check back in about 5 or 10 minutes, and then later on in the show, next 10 people to follow me, I will follow you back. Hit 8,000 followers. It is pretty funny. Hit 8,000, and I think I made some funny jokes about Ohio State. I dropped like 20 followers in like 2 or 3 days, and then over the last day and a half, I'm back. I've gained like 75 new people. I'm up to like 8,050 or something like that. So go follow me. I'll check here in a few minutes, follow the next 10 people back. I was voted by my mom the #1 person to follow for Michigan football news and rumors. So let's dive into today's story, folks. Today's just latest on Jim Harbaugh. It's the latest news and rumors. Harbaugh, who he's taken with him, and the Michigan football coaching staff of the future. So Jim Harbaugh is going to be named the Minnesota Vikings head coach. Chris Ballas is the first to report it. No one's refuted it. What we say, Ian Rappaport, what did he say again? That he, on the screen, not a done deal from Ian Rappaport. Probably the guy in sports who gets news wrong and stories wrong the most, yet still gets to keep his high-profile job at NFL Network. You recall 2004, he said Jim Harbaugh was about to interview with the Raiders when he was already on the plane to Ann Arbor to accept the Michigan job. So I wouldn't take that. I trust Chris Ballas much over Ian Rappaport. But 2014, sorry, I said. So the word is that Jim Harbaugh did actually take a private flight last night out of Detroit, or out of Ypsilanti private airport there, landed in Minneapolis, and was on campus with the Vikings this morning. As of 6 hours plus ago, 8 a.m. was the rumor. I haven't been able to independently verify that. That was just the chatter this morning from some folks around here in the office as well. Took a private flight and will accept the job here. But I want to know from you guys, folks, what is your one-word reaction to Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan? All right. I have no doubt this is going to happen. We're trying to get ahead of the story. I don't like to lie to you guys. There are some other media outlets that will say, oh, even if they know for a fact something's true, they will tell you the lie because they just, they're too scared to announce news or too scared to talk about something that hasn't gone through official channels. That's not me. I want to tell you the truth as far as I know it. But how about Jim Harbaugh over the last couple days, folks? his interview prep. We're hearing that Harbaugh was in the building at Schembechler Hall on Monday prepping for his Vikings interview, coming off Zooming with their front office on Saturday afternoon, that he knew he was going to go up there Wednesday, and he was prepping for it because there were some concerns apparently about his offensive philosophy, whether the games passed him by in the 7 years he's been out of the NFL. Was not in office yesterday and was preparing at his house with Jay Harbaugh, his son, and Matt Weiss, Michigan's analytics guru / quarterbacks coach. And then they were preparing, for it at his house yesterday and going to maybe take those guys with him up to Minneapolis. I haven't verified if that's true or not. If this is the case, if Jim Harbaugh was 2 days leading up to signing day on Michigan's campus using company facility, using their computers, their whiteboards, their big screens, their anything with existing staff members that are getting paid by the school, they're getting paid as part of this program to be coaches, to coach the players, to recruit players, I think it's just disgraceful. I think Jim Harbaugh, unless he had explicit permission and was very upfront and Ward Manuel knew was going down, I think it's disgraceful because think about any other company if you had 2, 3, 4 year employees all ganging up, so they can go get a different job somewhere else. And not to mention non-compete clause, things like that, hey, you can steal employees with you. I think it's just disgraceful, and I was not a big fan of hearing that. But we'll see if it was actually true. I don't know if we'll ever really know, but I feel strongly enough that it makes some sense. Then with Harbaugh not being there Tuesday, they went back to his house to get it going. So we will see what happens. We're going to toss up the Amazon question there. All right, so I want to ask you guys this question. All right, we're going to toss it up on the screen here. So reply to me in the comments with a Y or N. Yes, if yes. And if no, do you shop on Amazon? Do you use the Amazon website, the Amazon app? Hell, do you have Amazon Prime so you get free shipping? Well, I got to take a little quick poll. It'll help me deliver my next message to you. So light up the comments. I got some Y's coming in on the YouTube live chat. If you watch this later on in the day on demand, reminder that we did have our live show here. So I'm talking about those people. But let me know on demand as well. I got mostly 100% yeses. I haven't seen a single no yet from the live chat. The reason I want to ask you guys this question, because you guys will find value in today's sponsor. It is the Fetch Reward app. Little demo video coming on over the top. It basically allows you to download the app. It's a free app. You scan your receipts. But the cool thing about Amazon is you can connect your Amazon account to it so you get bonus points no matter what. The second you make a purchase on Amazon, boom, you've got points in your Fetch Reward app. You go to chatsports.com/fetch. It'll drop you in the store for Android or iPhone, whichever one you have. So type that in your browser. When you sign up, use promo code Michigan, and you'll get 3,000 bonus points. You only need to get to 10,000 points, folks, and you get a free $10 gift card from Amazon, from Starbucks, from your favorite restaurant, Airbnb, Marriott. There's just hundreds of gift cards you can get. I've been using it for 2.5 weeks or so. I am at like 9,000 points from just my Amazon account and scanning receipts when my wife or I go to the grocery store or something like that. So if you use Amazon, get Fetch Rewards. It is free, and it'll automatically start taking your Amazon purchases and turning them into points. You get 10,000 points, boom, free $10 gift card to pretty much wherever you want. Use promo code Mission. Go do it right now. I might give you guys an opportunity later today on Twitter or tomorrow to win a $10 gift card from me to see whoever is the fastest in proving that they've already downloaded Fetch. Chatsports.com/fetch. Use that link, promo code Michigan, get you 3,000 bonus points. Bill O'Brien. In the streets, they call him Bob, former Penn State head coach, former Houston Texans head coach, current Alabama offensive coordinator, and leading candidate to be the new offensive coordinator at the New England Patriots, where he was back in 2011 and prior, before he became the Penn State head coach. A lot of chatter out there that he has had some contact with Michigan. One message board genius even said, hey, my friend is a graduate assistant on the Alabama staff. O'Brien already offered him a job to come with him to Michigan. Now, I'm not putting any credibility in that necessarily, but there is enough chatter out there and some people with strong, I guess, sources, not just the Michigan side, that are leaning towards Bill O'Brien potentially emerging as Michigan's top candidate, right? And so I think he gets a little bit of a bad reputation sometimes from people because he got fired from the NFL. But if you look deeper down, he took over a Houston Texans team in 2014, was their coach for 6 full seasons. Then things kind of fell apart. He started 0-4 a couple years ago, and he got fired after 4 games. But he made the playoffs in 4 of his 6 full seasons, had a winning record in 5 of his 6 full seasons with the Houston Texans. And he didn't have Deshaun Watson the entire time, right? There was a lot of scrub quarterbacks in there that team had. And he had some success at Penn State. Think about Penn State when he took that job. He was only there for 2 years. What do we say his record was there? 15-9 at Penn State in 2 years. That was a program that had reputationally was bankrupt at that point, coming off the Joe Pa, Jerry Sandusky scandal, and players were flocking out of there. They couldn't have the scholarship reductions, the likes of which we've really never seen in modern college football, and he made them a formidable program, a winning record, 15-9 in 2 years. Imagine what he could do with J.J. McCarthy, right? Took Alabama to the national title game this year. His quarterback won the Heisman this year, folks. So I'm warming up here. I'm warming up. You know, it's cold outside, but your boy Yoder, I'm warming up to Bill O'Brien as Michigan's next head coach. Now, he's got to do something about that bald hair because he has the 80s, 90s dad look where he's still got the kind of bald top and the sides. You either got to go all bald or you got to get some surgery there, Bill, because I think I'll just start. You know, we can't do O'Brien heads with your shiny bald head with your old guy substitute teacher thing around the side. But nevertheless, I'm open to him as a coach. Went to the Nick Saban school and excelled there, had a Heisman Trophy winner. And I think it's one to keep an eye out. He wouldn't be my top candidate, but I think I can get behind Bill O'Brien being the next Michigan football head coach once Jim Harbaugh officially accepts the Vikings head coaching job. So if you guys haven't yet, we're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the 15th. I was told by the bigwigs, the fat cats, the bean counters at Chat Sports that if we don't get there, they just said, or else. So I'm not sure what that means. Now's the right time. We're going to have more content, more breaking news content in the next, 7-10 days, as long as the coaching search goes on, than we've ever had on this channel. This is kind of year 4, 2019, 2021 seasons had content around Michigan football. Now into 2022, we have ourselves a coaching search. Subscribe, or do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind. If you know a Michigan fan that has never heard of us, never watched the show, go ahead and send them the link, youtube.com/MichiganTV. Let's get to 20,000. We've really grown, almost doubled our subscribers in the last 12 months, and blown past all the other channels, have the biggest community for Michigan football fans on YouTube. Let's take a look at the 3 coaches that were either reportedly helping Jim Harbaugh prepare for this new job he's going to have in his interview, or are likely to leave with him. And it should be no surprise to anybody, these 3 guys. Matt Weiss was an NFL guy, right? He was with the Ravens for a long time, actually coached with Jim Harbaugh back in Stanford, 2008, 2009, when he was a grad student at Stanford himself. So they have a long history, but expected to go and either be the passing game coordinator or the offensive coordinator for the Vikings. Jay Harbaugh, I expect him to have the same role, probably special teams coordinator, or maybe a position coach with the Vikings as well. And then George Hilo, if you recall, he came over from a college job, but he's got some NFL background, and he is one that has been named early for likely to head out the door with Jim Harbaugh. The other guys in the staff, Sharon Moore, Josh Gaddis, certainly on the defensive side, you've got Steve Klinkscale and Ron Bellamy and some others. Those coaches aren't necessarily ones that Mike Hart, from the running back perspective, that have the NFL background or would see instantly the NFL being part of their future. So I don't think Michigan's going to have a wholesale staff raid by Jim Harbaugh. He may only take 3 guys, but nevertheless, with Mike McDonald leaving, with Sean Newell leaving, I mean, Michigan is going to basically flip over at least 60% of the coaching staff from this past year, no matter who the new head coach of this program is. But I'll ask you guys this question one more time. If you saw it in the build-up, asking you guys again, who will be Michigan's head coach in the 2022 season? Going into the fact, don't say Jim Harbaugh, because unless something happens like, I don't know, he sneezes into his hand and shakes the hand of the owner or something like that, and they're so disgusted they just kick him out of the building. Unless something crazy happens like that, he's going to get this Vikings job, and he is in process of probably he's accepted it as we speak. So I want to know from you guys. Let me give a few shout-outs here to producer Brett and who you guys think will, not shout-outs, just recognitions of what people are saying as the chat is going a little crazy. It's Bill O'Brien, and I'm trying to catch up to the chat now. Has had it minimized, so maybe I won't look at what those. Did have a super chat come in, though. I see Matt Campbell. I see Urban Meyer. I see some other ones, Rule or Gaddis. So keep those flowing. Let me know who you guys think, as we have 420 people watching here. YouTube.com/MichiganTV. If you saw my Twitter post last night, my Twitter video from late night, it was kind of almost 11 o'clock Central, so coming up at midnight, I said 2 things, and I hope Jim Harbaugh sees it. So if you have that video, or you can send him this one, I'll say the same thing. I do want to thank Jim Harbaugh for this past season, beating Ohio State, and really taking a chance on Michigan. As crazy as that sounds, taking a chance on Michigan, because he had the opportunity to have any job he wanted, in a lot of ways. He could have had a bunch of other college jobs. He could have had a bunch of different NFL jobs after the 2014 season as things deteriorated with the 49ers. But he came back at Michigan's lowest point. 7 years of mediocre football and a couple downright awful years at the end towards Brady Hoke, including 5-7 in 2014. But he came back, and it was instant success. Whether you think, it wasn't, they didn't win a national title. Well, he was a block punt on the last play of the game away from going to the Ohio State game 10-1, right? He was maybe a week of practice away from beating a good Utah team in the opener, and they lost by a touchdown, from going to the Ohio State game 11-0 that year. So they turned it around right there. He was number 2 in the country in the polls by week 7 of his second year at Michigan. So it was an instant turnaround, the likes of which I don't know if we've ever seen in college football, of a team being that down and going to that high in that short of a period of time. 19 games from his first game to being ranked number 2 in the country. So thank you to Jim Harbaugh. But I want to give some advice. Send this to him if you know him. Don't be Brian Kelly. Don't be Lincoln Riley. Don't be one of these coaches that all the fan bases just think he's a scumbag because he sent his players a text. Hey, guys, head to the Vikings. I wish you my best. And he never comes back. If you're going to accept the job today, fly back to Ann Arbor. Spend 10, 15 hours in the office tomorrow. Just say, I want to see every single one of you guys. Just get in the line. Do whatever you want to do. Come in. I'm going to talk to you. You can always call me. Have a good going out with your players. And hold a press conference, right? A lot of these people, Sam Webster and Ballas reported this, and all these beat writers, they spend a lot of time covering you on location. They probably wouldn't hurt to say goodbye to them, let them shake your hand one last time. So go off and just say, look, I want to go back to the NFL. I beat Ohio State. I didn't get every win that maybe people wanted, but I appreciate Michigan. I love Michigan. I want to try something else, and I'm going to be supportive of the program going forward. I hope you guys support me. I hope that's what Jim Harbaugh does, folks, but he may not do it, right? We may not hear from Jim Harbaugh. He might become persona non grata for a few years, like a lot of these coaches will when they leave for another job, and just kind of, move out in the middle of the night and no one ever hears from him again. So let's hope he doesn't, and we'll see, though, what Jim Harbaugh does. All right, had a super chat flying in there during that portion of the show from Brian Landon, $9.99. He says, character on the floor, Oh, yeah, super sticky. So he's just doing a laughing face. What was it? Brian, message us if you want what the laughing was in reply to. I'm not sure if I saw when it came in to know if I had said something funny at that point. But let me know what the laugh was for there, Brian. But thank you so much. You guys can super chat. We'll put every super chat, I think, whatever, $5, we'll put it on the screen. It's a feature here on YouTube that we haven't pushed a ton. But if you want to super chat, go ahead and do so. We'll get your question or your comment up on screen. So thank you so much to Brian Lambden for that question. What are we going to next? Recruiting? All right. We're going to dive into the Michigan football recruiting class right now. Left that, coaching hot board, your question. So stick with us. We got still another 60 minutes or so with a live Michigan football report here on YouTube. It's signing day, folks, for Jim Harbaugh's Wolverines. Well, are they Jim Harbaugh's Wolverines? Is this his class? Is it not his class? Is it the new coaches? We're going to find all that out over the next 12 to 24 hours, I'm sure of it. But I did want to go through and talk about this class in a little bit of a recap of what we just basically knew in December. Nothing's changed for this class since December, although there is a prospect out there, Cavante Henry, as of going live. He is still yet to sign anywhere, still committed to Michigan, but all the crystal balls have come in and said he's headed to Oklahoma, so I don't expect him, nor will I plan for him to be a member of this class. So let's dive into it. Before we do, though, I want to know if you guys are like me and you love Michigan football no matter what. Even in the darkest days of Hoke and Rich Rod, I only missed one game. It was 2014. I think it was like the Maryland game or something. It was just like coming off of terrible performances. I just went out and had a day at the park with wife and dog. But ever since then, I've always supported the team and wanted them to win no matter what. So I'm going to like the video. If you're going to support Michigan no matter who the head coach is and wish for the best, give me a like. Want to make sure that some positivity and potentially a dark time for this program depending on what happens in the future. This recruiting class is highlighted by Will Johnson, who is already on campus and has already practiced with this team several times in the week between, his high school ending on like December 21st, 22nd. He got a couple practices in with Jim Harbaugh's squad before they went down to the Orange Bowl to face off with Georgia. And the early reports were, hey, he's going to be a day one starter next year. And certainly with Vincent Gray leaving, that makes that much more likely. Derek Moore might be the gem of the class. Came in as a signing day commit in December and signed out of Baltimore, same high school as Blake Corum, number 48 player in the country. Keon Sav was committed to Clemson, former 5-star early in the process. Over the summer, he was listed as a 5-star, kind of dropped down, ended up at number 83. And then 2 big-time wide receivers, Tyler Morris out of Chicago, former teammate of J.J. McCarthy, and then Darius Clemens out of Portland, Oregon area, who was another signing day commit for signing for Michigan. But those 5 guys right there and a few others, right, they're the ones we expect to make an impact over the next 2 years. I really hope this class doesn't fall apart because of the poor timing and I think poor decision-making by Jim Harbaugh and just his approach with when he's going to go and interview. Like, why wait till signing day, right? Why, if he recruited Saturday and then they knew that he was their guy, why didn't he just fly up there Monday morning, sign the deal, shake the hand, and then go back and make sure, he kind of wraps things up and calls these recruits and says, hey, everything's going to be fine. So I hope this class doesn't fall apart. A lot of these guys, like half these guys are already on campus, but I can see a situation where Michigan lets the other ones out of their letter of intent because they don't want the blowback from social media. Hey, your coach left, all this different stuff. Give the players thoughts. They could transfer if they want to anyways, but I'm sure they want to save that one-time transfer. Or guys who are already on campus, the NCAA gives them exemption. They can just finish out the semester and go transfer anywhere else and not have it hurt them here at their future eligibility. Let's take a look at the rest of the class. Zeke Berry, out of the state of California, big-time safety. It's actually one of the guys that when I started watching his film last summer, I thought he was a top 50 player guaranteed. He was kind of up there in a few services, but ended up at 167. I see him being a year 2 starter in the 2023 season. Jimmy Rolder. A lot of guys are excited about it. A lot of people are excited about him who have watched his film, see him play out of the Chicago area. He won't be a starter next year, but I think much like Junior Colson, he will be on the field for a lot of this coming season and will be a year 2 starter at worst, if not end of year 1. Mason Graham, don't see him making a big impact early on. And then Colston Loveland, State Player of the Year out of, I believe it's Idaho. I'll have to look that up for sure. Idaho, Montana, one of those. He's the future at tight end, and his ranking is continuously go up. He started as a 3-star and ended up as a solid 4-star, and a lot of people are excited about what he's going to show in a Michigan uniform coming up. Before we jump into the rest of the class, I want to take a quick straw poll from you guys, digital straw poll, if that's what we'll call it, is do you want more recruiting-focused shows? I tend to focus on the team, the coaches, the rumors, what the storylines you guys want to hear about are, and recruiting hasn't been necessarily the thing I've been focused on, right? Guy my age worrying about 16, 17-year-old boys, whatever. But if you want more, we'll do more, especially in the offseason where, maybe one a week is a recruiting focus. So type Y for yes, type N for no. The live stream is a few yeses coming in to start, and probably a no or two will come in. But let me know if you guys want more recruiting shows on demand. Go down in the comments, type Y or N, and I'll kind of base future content on what you guys are looking for. All right, we dive into the athletes and the quarterbacks. Cody Jones, I think the second longest tenured part of this class. He's been committed since summer of 2020. Alex Orji, the all-name team, the quarterback out of the state of Texas, right outside of Dallas. He is an early enrollee already on campus. Kenneth Grant, Jaden Denegal. I think Orji Denegal, one of those guys, is not going to be a quarterback by the end of his first year. They'll eventually move to wide receiver or safety or hell, even defensive end with the size these guys have. And then Amarion Walker. Was committed to Notre Dame for a while, out of the state of Louisiana, and he's dropped to a 3-star player, but there's some chatter out there that Michigan found a gem in him and stealing him from Notre Dame, and he was probably going to end up there regardless of what Brian Kelly did, but that kind of sealed the deal for sure when Brian Kelly went down there. I don't guess LSU wasn't interested in with Kelly. He came up to Michigan, and I think he is going to be one of these players in a few years, like a Ronnie Bell or something like that. You're like, how the heck was that guy the number 500 player in the country? Because he turns into a all Big Ten player or multiple year starter. All right, 19,271 is the number of subscribers we have on the channel. As I pull up my phone, just got another 1972 or 272, so we can pull that up the next time. But keep subscribing. Really trying to get everyone who watches the show to subscribe. You wouldn't know, but half the people, half the audience, 20,000 views yesterday on the show. More than half of those people weren't subscribed to the channel. So make sure you do. Helps out the show, helps you out because you don't have to go searching for it. You just pull up YouTube, boom, it's right there in your subscription feed, or send the link to a friend, youtube.com/Michigan TV. The best recommendations, folks, come from a friend, and you are that friend if you haven't subscribed yet. If you've subscribed, send it to a friend and let them know that why you like the show and why they should subscribe. Rest of this class, Marlon Klein. That's a pretty good name, Marlon Klein. I like that name. Tight end, kind of the second tight end in this class, so he'll kind of start with a player in front of him in his own class that's probably more talented. Miles Pollard. A corner, he might play safety, been committed for a while. The Pollard brothers, although they are not related, one from Tennessee, one from Florida. I love this guy, though. Alessandro Lorenzetti, offensive lineman, more of a project. I don't think he's ready to play in the first couple of years, but maybe one of those guys who's a depth player for the next 2 to 3 seasons, could get in the starting lineup by year 4. Micah Pollard. Damani Dent, keep an eye out for him. He is a very raw athlete, but has some speed. Might be a little bit undersized, but I know for a fact that Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan football scouting team just absolutely loved him. Couldn't believe he was kind of a borderline 3-star player. Keep an eye out for Damani Dent. I think I'm calling him right now my sleeper of this class, the one guy like a Ronnie Bell who will be making an impact sooner than later. But I want to know from you guys. Grade Michigan's 2022 recruiting class. It's the same group of guys from December, so there's no game day surprises or signing day surprises. One player is still out there, Cavante Henry. I don't think he's going to end up with Michigan regardless, so we're not including him on this show. But give me an A, B, C, D, or F. Under the circumstances of Jim Harbaugh leaving, I guess if everyone stays, I'll end up giving it an A. I think I gave it a B+ in December, so B+ is like on paper, A, if they keep it together for continuity, but really missed out on the highest end quarterbacks. Coming off J.J. McCarthy, maybe that was to be expected, and focusing on Dante Moore and some others next year, and really could have used a high-end running back, but crushed it on defensive line, crushed it at wide receiver, crushed it certainly a couple players on the offensive line, tight end as well, so I'm going ahead and giving it a B+. CJ Stokes is that running back out of the state of South Carolina. Deuce Spurlock, some great names. I just love the names of these guys. Imagine your name is Deuce Spurlock. Just an all-name team from him. Connor Jones, outside of Damani Dent, Connor Jones, the lowest-rated player in this class, folks. Number 1,000 player overall, borderline 3-star. Don't be surprised if he is. You follow him on social media. Follow some of his family members on social media. I think I follow like his dad and one of his siblings. It's a hard-working family, okay? That's a blue-collar kid, and he is coming to Michigan. He's already working his butt off. He is one of the vocal leaders of this recruiting class. I am excited to see what he does. Him and Damani Dent, those are my 2 sleepers that if they're starting by year 2, folks, do not be surprised. Make sure you remember that I went ahead and told you. Now, if they end up being bad players and don't ever make an impact, just forget I said that at all. So that's just kind of how we roll with making crazy wild projections of 17 and 18-year-old high school football players. Michigan ended up with a top 10 class. The rankings really haven't changed. I don't know if you guys think the same as I do. I was excited about the early recruiting process a few years back when it came, but it didn't change anything. It wasn't like there was an early signing period and a late signing period. There was just an early signing period, say. This day has lost all of its luster, and I think it's actually taken away from the December one that's still in peak NFL season, college football playoff, coming off the Heisman Award season. I think they should turn it back to February. Allow players, if their coach leaves, they can still move around that committed or signed on the dotted line. And if you're going to do an early signing period, maybe move it up to like July. So there's this big gap, right? And it's not just like a month and a half apart. That really doesn't make much sense to me. But here's where the classes shake out. Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, number 4, Texas, number 5. Then you're going to see Michigan in the bottom half here. Number 6 is Penn State. They were number 1 for a while, and they dropped down as things kind of got towards the end. Some teams added 5 stars. Notre Dame, 7. Michigan is number 8. North Carolina, shout out Mac Brown, one of the all-time greatest college football recruiters of all time. He's their head coach, a bad season, number 9. And then number 10 is Oklahoma, right? They lost a lot of really good recruits when their head coach went to USC, and certainly a lot of transfers there as well, including Caleb Williams. But they held on to a top 10 class. Forgetting their coach's name, Brent Venables has held on them, and they actually had quite a few commits over the last 2 months or so since he's got that job. So shout out to Oklahoma. Those are your top 10 classes in college football. The final recruiting rankings, don't expect them to change at all because really there's not anybody out there that is going to make a marginal or material difference to that top 10 rankings. The number 8 mid-class for Michigan. Subscribe, folks. We were at 19,278 subscribers here on the Michigan Football Report. All right. Super chat me or use hashtag Michigan. It is now live Q&A time. After this first Q&A, so I'll break it down. We're going to do the audience Q&A, question and answer, right? You ask questions, I answer them to the best of my ability. We'll do that here for the next 10 to 12 minutes. After that, top 10 coaching candidates, right? So if you want to stick around for that, that's what you're looking for. You're about 10, 12 minutes away. And then after that, we're going to do one more audience Q&A. So if you kind of think of a question or anything like that, Come back in 20, 25 minutes from now, and we'll do another Q&A if you don't get yours answered here right now on the show. Super Chat gets you on $5 or more, $1 plus. I'll give you a verbal shout out, but might not get the graphics up there on the screen. Let's keep it rolling, though. I want to make sure you guys get likes on this video. It helps out the show. We've got 386 folks watching, so the audience still dropped a little bit as we are now 40 minutes into this show. We're at 386 people watching. Can we add 20 likes to the total? Brett, I didn't look at the number where we were at when we put that on there. I see 158. Now 160 is where we're at. I'm not 100% sure if we started what number we started at, but I guess let's just get 10 more likes, okay? We'll just kind of claim we're almost there. 166, so let's get up to like 175 there. We're at 170 now, and we get 5 more likes. We'll take your questions. 172. Can I get a 173? Can I get a 174? 173, 76. There we are. We are at it. All right, it is Michigan football question and answer. Get your comments in there using hashtag Michigan. The Michigan Football Report is presented by Manscaped. You go to manscaped.com, use promo code GOBLUE. I got the promo code that all the Michigan blogs and podcasts want. Go Blue, no space, 20% off, and free shipping. Valentine's Day is coming up, folks. Make that night memorable. Kind of trim it up below, or send it to your significant other. Tell them to buy that for you for Valentine's Day. Becky and Chad, the Michigan football power couple, longtime viewer of the show, always asking. I just want to know, who is it, Becky or is it Chad? Is it both? I kind of hope it's both. That'd be pretty cool if they both were fans and watching together. Some popcorn. That'd be cute. That'd be cute. First couple of Michigan football. With Harbaugh leaving, do all the recruits head for the transfer portal? Transfer portal, maybe let's just use it as a loose term. I think they would try the approach where they would ask out of their letter of intent, or ask the Michigan to go to bat for them with an NCAA exemption to maybe withdraw from school and still be able to enroll somewhere else without that being their one-time transfer, right? Guys can transfer without having to sit out, but you only get one, right? And if you do try to transfer twice, you'd have to sit out a year on that second time. I don't know. There's always a push with people to say, hire internally, keep continuity, right? They know what's going on. These assistant coaches, push one of them forward. Everybody's going to stay. The support staff, and I hope the support staff, some of those recruiting folks that are there, that have been there for a short period of time, that they stay with the new head coach. But who knows, right? If it's an external person, they might have their own people they want to bring in. But I doubt it. But keep an eye out for Will Johnson, Michigan's highest profile recruit. His dad gave an interview to the Detroit Free Press yesterday. Basically said he knew for a few days that Jim Harbaugh was taking the job. They asked him straight up, and Harbaugh told him, yes, if the offer comes, I'm taking it. So a little bit surprising there, but give credit to Harbaugh for being, forthcoming with that. But he said that his son asked him, Will Johnson asked his dad, Deion, former Michigan wide receiver, with Harbaugh leaving, should I stick around? And Deion didn't answer in this interview, so keep an eye out for that one. I would be really disappointed if he did. He's been committed for well over a year, and he's the gem of this class, and I think a day one starter for Michigan. At least stick around, Will. You're already in school. You're already 2-3 weeks into class. Stick around and find out who the new head coach is. You can ask for out of your letter of intent, and at the end of the semester or whatever it is there. At least give it this first spring practice and find out who the head coach is. Lions fan 02. What's that? I'll be up in the channel. Okay. Who do you want most as Michigan's new head coach? Who I want versus likely. I want John Harbaugh as my coach, right? I've had this wild scheme in my mind that Jim and his brother, they talk all the time. They get together for holidays and the summers, and they said, I'd love to come back to the NFL. I can't stand the NFL. It's been 15 years. I'd love to go to college. Boom, whoop, whoop. I'll introduce you, but he just is reported signing a longer-term deal and just took Mike Macdonald. But crazy scenario for me. And by the way, we're going to come up with our top 10 candidates here in a moment on the live show. If you're watching this on demand, you already saw it. We're going to publish that one before this one on demand. Crazy scenario. Jim takes the Vikings job. He comes back, there's a press conference, hands off the job to his brother, hug it out, introduces John, and then Mike Macdonald's the new Ravens head coach. I can see it happening, probably not, but in my crazy warped mind of that Michigan's going to end up on top with something, that's the scenario I want as my new head coach, although I think it's about as likely as, me getting rid of this bald spot that I try and cover up. Steve Roberts says, do you trust Warde Manuel to hire the best candidate for head coach? Good question, right? Really good question, because people haven't really talked about it enough in the last weeks of just who's making these decisions, right? Warde Manuel has had a sketchy track record, right? Think about hockey. Red Berenson was going to step away a few years back, and Mel Pearson was right there, in another program, ready to take the job, Michigan alum. But apparently, Ward just was not going to take the hottest coach in college hockey to come over to take over for Red. He asked Red to stick around another year so he could do a more exhaustive search. Still ended up with Mel Pearson as the coach. Didn't make much sense to me. Then 3 years ago, he gets caught off guard by John Beilein, and then eventually hires Juwan Howard. And Juwan's looking good, not so much this year. Got the guy. But if Juwan Howard didn't go to Michigan, who would be Michigan's head coach right now? I don't know the answer to that. It didn't seem like Ward made any inroads with big-name coaches in that last search. It was like we heard a few people. Who's the guy from Providence? What's his? Ed Cooley. We heard that one rumored for a little bit, but it was just Ed Cooley, and then everybody else either denied it or said no, and then just boom, it's Juwan Howard 10, 12 days later. So I don't know what to think about what Ward Manuel does, but a lot of coaches seem to like to get away from Ward Manuel. He's lost a legendary hockey coach, a legendary basketball coach, and one of the most coveted coaches in football in the past 20 years in Jim Harbaugh, all in the last few years. So kind of dicey. Wondering why people are trying to get away from him so much. But graphics team put this together. What are you guys doing? Who do you trust more to make the hire? I might hear, James, you should just make the hire. I think I'd probably do a better job. I would know how to I would at least contact these guys. I would call Sean Payton up and say, Sean, how about a 10-year, $175 million deal? It just gets bigger at the end of the time. Right? Now, you say that's crazy. It's crazy. You're making 10 now a year, and then we just just pile it on at the end. He's making 25, which will probably be the norm for big-time coaches in 9 years from now. I would call him. I would make sure that we talk to John Harbaugh. I would make sure we talk to all the top candidates that people think might be interested in a move. Make them say no before you settle on somebody like an internal candidate or a second-level coach. So let me know this one. I guess Ward Manuel type WM or James Yoder, yours truly type JY. I guess Shanesy Hayes from the live chat says Ward Manuel, but most of it's JYs though. So I'm getting some love from the people. I don't agree with the graphics team putting this up. This is I've got a great job here at Chat Sports, but JY seem to be leading it. Let me know on the on-demand cut. Go down the comments, WM or JY. Landon Thompson, thanks so much for watching, Landon. Big Yankees guy. I'm surprised that Luke Fickell isn't the favorite. Yoder. Do you think? I like this guy. He's grammatically correct. Uses parentheses, uses commas, uses periods, because sometimes people just jumble it together. Do you think his OSU ties are causing him not to be a favorite at Michigan? I do. Right. I do think that's a consideration, and Ohio State people think there's just no way it's going to happen, right? That's never going to happen. Luke is an Ohio State guy. He was born in Columbus. He coached here. He was our defensive coordinator. He's at Cincinnati, and he's waiting for that job. But if you're him, is it going to come? He's older than Ryan Day, and if Ryan Day doesn't look at the NFL, when's that job going to come? And Cincinnati's not always going to be as hot probably as they were this year. So this might be the only opportunity he gets one of those jobs where he grew up. Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame just hired a coach a decade younger than him, right? It's another Ohio State guy. So those jobs might not come up pretty soon. So I'd at least make the call. Do you have any interest at all? Yes, I'll talk to you about it. Cool, let's talk about it. If he's like, no chance in hell, then you hang up the phone, you move on, but you got to make the call. Jimmy Bailey says, wouldn't you want Sharon Moore over Gaddis? I don't know. Sharon Moore was probably Michigan. Him and Mike Hart were the position coaches of the year in a lot of ways. Maybe Steve Klinkscale, Ron Bellamy with the secondary. But being a first-time offensive line coach for Moore, that was surprising how good that offensive line was for the first 13 games of the year until they met up with Georgia. But I don't think Sharon Moore, a position coach that got a co-offensive coordinator title and a position switch, is the best Michigan can do. And all I want Michigan would make this hire is get the best guy that would say yes for the money that you can pay your coach. They did it with Jim Harbaugh. They did it with Rich Rodriguez. They didn't do it with Brady Hoke, right? There's better candidates out there that Michigan could have and should have pursued there. Les Miles, Jim Harbaugh. So 2 of the last 3 they got right, at least on the surface. But I don't think Sharon Moore is qualified to be Michigan's head coach, at least not right now. And especially, I think if any in the pecking order, Gaddis would get that job over him. Let me know what your plans are for Valentine's Day. If you want to go down in the comments on YouTube or here in the live chat, I want to know what you guys are because I have no plans at all myself. So I want to give a few shout-outs and see what you guys are saying, what you're doing for Valentine's Day, which, folks, is on the 14th. What day is that? That's is that a Friday, Saturday next week? I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm guessing it's a Saturday, Sunday because today's the 2nd. So let me know what you guys are doing on Valentine's Day. I got somebody says sex. That's a pretty good one there. I had to hide that comment. And then someone says your mom. All right, hey, pal. You don't even know what she looks like. But those are a couple there. Nothing from Lewis. And Keith says he'll cry if Jim leaves. So those are the comments. Keep them rolling in. I'll give some more shout-outs. But if you're going to be there with your lady or your guy or whatever you're doing there, if you got something going on, you got a lovey-dovey, you got a little loved one on Valentine's Day, don't make it just a mess downtown. Get going with Manscaped or send this to them. You say, hey, you want to clean things up downstairs? You want to give me a Valentine's Day gift? Manscaped.com, promo code GoBlue for Valentine's Day. Make this the year that things going downstairs is not a chore. It's a pleasure on Valentine's Day. I use the Lawnmower 4.0. It's got a light on it. You can take it in the shower with you. Kind of keep it discreet if you want to. 20% off using promo code GoBlue. Just go to manscaped.com. And right now, you still have the free shipping. It'll get there by Valentine's Day, but you got to order soon. Manscaped.com, promo code GoBlue. No spaces, 20% off and free shipping. Tell them Yoder sent by buying the Lawnmower 4.0, and then, hell, tell your significant other, hey, you can thank Yoder. I'll take the thanks if that goes down. Landon Thompson coming in again says, should Deion Sanders be into consideration? He reminds me of some way of Juwan Howard, but he didn't go to Michigan, right? And so he wouldn't maybe jump at the job. I don't know. I kind of think Florida State maybe missed the boat on and having him, and maybe they will in the future, although he's been stealing a couple of their recruits. But he clearly understands name, image, and likeness. He clearly understands winning, right? They've turned that program right around. They've had a great 2 seasons. He played back-to-back seasons in the same calendar year. They played a spring season, and they played a fall season and had some really good results. And he got the number 1 recruit in the country. The number 1 recruit in the country is going to Jackson State for Deion. So I think it could be a lot of good things for Michigan. Publicity, have all kinds of social media and shows, but ultimately, no, I don't think he's the best guy Michigan could get. I'd like to see him prove himself on this level. And I would always think in some way that he would have distractions or will be looking at another job at some point if he ended up taking the Michigan job. So I'm going to go no on Deion. Antonio Coleman, do you think we have players already at Michigan leaving? Any core players at Michigan leaving? Well, we've got a lot of guys leaving for the draft, right? 6, 7 early enrollees for the draft just on the defensive side of the ball. What's that? Oh, if Harbaugh leaves, yeah. So I'm just saying we already have a bunch of core guys leaving. So if Harbaugh leaves, J.J. McCarthy, it's an interesting one. He committed to Jim Harbaugh, it seems. He's from Chicago. He was reportedly an Ohio State fan growing up, but it's really embodied Michigan. I don't know, Will Johnson, he could be a core player next year, but guys who have a starting position, as long as they're already in school, so I doubt anyone's just going to drop out of school right now. I believe that most players, if they already hadn't intended on transferring before this happened, they're going to stick it out through spring ball, and then it's just business as usual in a lot of ways. So Michigan might be hurt by this later coaching search because they might have missed out on a few candidates. Could have made a run at Lincoln Riley. Could have made a run at some other guys if before they took new jobs. But it could actually help them that it's already 3-4 weeks in the semester. Guys aren't going to transfer in mass before the semester starts to play spring ball somewhere else. They can't do that. So I doubt we see anybody that's unexpected before spring ball. And then it's up to the new coach to keep them happy and keep them engaged with this season. Make sure you guys subscribe. As I said, we're at 19,000, almost 300 followers, trying to get to 20,000 by February 15th. I want to wake up after I use Manscaped on Valentine's Day the next morning, 20,000. Might get a little bonus at work. I'm not sure what the significance is, but I got to do it, or else youtube.com/Michigan TV. It is your Michigan football coaching hot board. I have dug deep into the bowels of the internet, texted everyone I know that knows any football coach alive and said, hey, is your guy interested in Michigan? And I've got some interesting things coming back at me for that. And I think some of these people will surprise you potentially, but a lot of the names are some of the ones that have been talked about elsewhere, and I think you would expect that Michigan potentially will go after. We are presented by Fetch Rewards app. If you haven't yet, go and download the Fetch Rewards app, chatsports.com/Fetch. It's the app that lets you scan receipts, connect your email and your Amazon account. So when you buy something online, you get credit for it already. And then when you build up some points, you get free gift cards from them. You need 10,000 points to get a $10 gift card. So go to chatsports.com/Fetch. Use promo code Michigan. You get 3,000 free points with your first receipt. All right, I have a tweet on my Twitter account right now that I'm going to give shout-outs to the next people. Anybody who retweets that pinned tweet, it's a video that we posted. I just did a selfie video from the studio right before we went live, so go retweet me. Actually, I got to. I don't know if I actually ever pinned it. Apologies for that. Now it's pinned. It's about to be pinned. It will be pinned right now. So go ahead and retweet me. I'll give shout outs for you guys here in just a couple moments. Go retweet my pinned tweet. It's me in this little selfie video right there. Let's talk Michigan football coaching candidates. I want to know from you guys, who should Michigan hire as a candidate? We'll bucket the candidates into two separate. We got internal or external. Let me know if you think they should hire an internal candidate. Go ahead and type I. Or if you think, hey, focus externally, get the best guy for the job, go ahead and type E. I don't think there's anybody in the staff right now that is the quality of candidate that Michigan needs to continue to compete with Ohio State. So I'm going with E for external. Let's see what you guys think down in the comments, I or E. Your Michigan football coaching hot board is going to be the topic that we're going to talk about nonstop until Michigan makes a coaching hire, with Jim Harbaugh taking the Minnesota Vikings job reportedly, and by the time we put this on our on-demand channel on Thursday, our channel on demand, maybe he's already officially accepted it, but filming here on Wednesday afternoon, it's not official yet. So I'm going to walk you through my top 10 candidates for the job right now as I see it, starting with number 10, is former Michigan football player and journeyman quarterback, right? Barely drafted and then stuck around with the Patriots for a while, and then, kind of just went down south and got a job with the Buccaneers, but he just retired officially yesterday. Tom Brady. It's kind of a joke, the upside down smiley face, but look, I would be excited about that. There's no coaching experience, but he certainly has a hell of a lot of winning experience and knows how to operate a football program. 5 years at Michigan, 20 years at the Patriots, 2 years with the Bucs. I'm going to go Tom Brady at number 10. We'll get a little more serious here. Mark Stoops from Kentucky. He right now has potentially the best job in college football. Why is that? He's in the SEC, and he has absolutely no expectations of winning a conference or making the college football playoff. If he goes 7-5 every year and occasionally pops up an 8-4, 9-3 season, he has job security for life at a basketball school that's completely focused on there. He's got a cush job, but he has the recruiting acumen in Detroit, in Ohio, in the South, and really the coaching acumen. He's done a really good job there at Kentucky that I think that Michigan should reach out to him if these next 8 guys say no. In a lot of ways, this guy will be my number 1 candidate, Luke Fickell. He is number 8 right now, not because I don't think he's worthy of the job or anything like that, but I'm just not sure from what I've seen. I've reached out to some Ohio State people, including some former coworkers of his on the Ohio State staff, who said Luke's not taking that job at all. So Luke Fickell is my number 8 candidate for the Michigan football head coaching job. Number 7 coming up, but I'm going to ask you guys this question. Which store? We had a little office debate today, and it's split pretty much 50-50, so I told people I'd jump on and ask you guys as I get a quick sip of water. Which store do you shop at more? Which is your spot? Walmart or Target? I know what you guys are thinking in the comments. I see Keith White says W. More W's coming in on the live chat. Let me know down in the comments which one you guys shop at more, Walmart or Target, by typing W or T. Now, from the early results from the live chat and from, I'm guessing, the comments, we all shop at one of these stores, right? You're kind of forced to these days if you want to get something quick, fast, and it's not available on Amazon 1-hour delivery. And if so, Fetch is the app for you, because every time you walk out of one of those stores, you just take the Fetch app, a free app, iPhone, Android, chatsports.com/Fetch. Go on there, download it. I wouldn't push this to you as sincerely and aggressively in telling you to do it if I didn't already see the benefits from it myself. I'm scanning my receipts. I've connected my Amazon account. I've connected my email account. Anything I buy online, I'm getting credit for it, and then it gives me points. I am this shy after 2 weeks of 10,000 points already because I got my 3,000 free bonus points. I've been scanning every receipt from Walmart, Target, my Amazon stuff, and then boom, I get 10,000 points. I'm going to get myself probably a Target, Walmart, Amazon gift card. It's as simple as you see on the screen, just scanning your paper receipts or just connecting your email or Amazon account, and so you get rewards for those in addition to the paper copies. It's chatsports.com/Fetch, free app, free to download, and use promo code Michigan when you sign up. First scan receipt, you'll get an extra 3,000 bonus points. Earn points on any receipt from any store or restaurant, folks, big or small, and you redeem those points for gift cards and other rewards. It's free, and there's really no point in not doing it. So go ahead, chatsports.com/Fetch. Support our sponsor, support the show. Use that promo code Michigan to get 3,000 bonus points. Number 7 is close to home. Sean Payton, former Saints head coach, just stepped away less than 2 weeks ago. His daughter, until recently, was working with Chat Sports, a colleague of ours. And, I'm not going to say what, she didn't give me any inside info, but I do know that his son is Sean's son, who was the movie on Netflix, was really about their relationship. she told me, huge Michigan fan his whole life. And I could see if he's going to come back. Maybe it's the wrong time. Maybe a year from now would be better. But, give him a call. He's one of the best coaches in NFL history. He was with the Saints for, 16, 17 seasons, something like that. And one of the best to do it. So, Sean Payton, make the call. Make him say no. Dave Aranda. I'm going to start putting him, I would guess by end of the week, early next week, I'm going to start putting Dave Aranda close to the top of my list, right? But only fear with not putting him in the top 5 right now, or even the top 2 or 3, is I'm concerned is Ward Manuel going to reach out to him, right? I mean, I could see Ward Manuel be like, Texas, that's an awful long way to travel to talk to somebody about a Michigan job. He has no recruiting ties up here. He was with LSU before. Maybe he doesn't go after him, but he's a candidate for all the top jobs anyways. Why would Michigan not go after him? Turn Baylor into a borderline college football playoff team, top 10 team this year, and instant success coming over from LSU. Won a national title with them as a defensive coordinator. Boom, instant success year 2 at Baylor. Dave Aranda, pretty big-time coach. I think Michigan should at least give him a shot. I think Payton and Aranda, folks, they need to be candidates because it means that Michigan is leaving no stone unturned, that they're not just saying, well, we've got Josh Gaddis and Sharon Moore and Mike Hart. We'll talk to those guys, and then whoever the Michigan man of the day that has the highest profile, like a couple of these folks we'll talk about here in a second. Adam Stenavich, new offensive coordinator for the Packers, not on my list, but I could see him becoming one just because he is the former Michigan football player. So I think Payton, Aranda need to be candidates, and if you hear about me candidates, that means you have a serious search with this replacement of Jim Harbaugh. But subscribe to the channel, guys. I really want to tell you how much I appreciate as many views and as many subscribers as we have on this channel. I got a text from a family member this morning. I was at the dentist this morning. I got a text from there, and it was kind of funny. It was like, hey, James, how do these, big media outlets or these guys who were there that have been covering Michigan for 20 years, they're competing with you on YouTube big time. They've got half the subscribers, and they only get like a tenth of the views. I don't know the answer, but I would say I think we do the right thing. I think we're consistent, and I think we've built an audience in the community that people appreciate, and so that's the reason why. Why did our video get 20,000, and other outlets tried to do the same thing? They got 200 views yesterday on the Jim Harbaugh news. It's because of you guys. You guys give feedback. We try and listen to it. So make sure to subscribe. If you haven't, I pledge you to continue to put out the best content we can. And if you've already subscribed, if you love the show, like the show, send it to a friend. It's the top 5. All right, here's the guys. Here's this brass tacks, the folks that we're going to be talking about a lot. I did not know this guy existed as a coach until like a week ago. I'm going to be completely honest. I knew the name. I even think I hacked the name on a show recently. I called him the wrong first name just because he's that kind of quasi insignificant. But Harold Goodwin played at Michigan in the early 90s, right? And then was a grad assistant under Lloyd Carr, 95, 96, part of that 1997 team as a grad assistant. Ironically, was on Mike Elston, Michigan's new D-line coach. He was also a grad assistant that year too. Offensive coordinator, running game coordinator for the Buccaneers the last 2 seasons. Prior to that, he was an offensive coordinator with the Arizona Cardinals for 5 seasons, an offensive coordinator. And so he's got some pretty good, qualifications, an offensive line coach with the Bears and the Colts. He's been an NFL coach for about 20 years now. And he's one of these guys that he's not on anybody's radar right now because he's kind of like one level, shy running game coordinator. But he's one, if all, like Juwan Howard, if some of these top guys say no to Michigan, he could end up being your next head coach if he has a desire to come back and coach in the college game. But one guy who's already coached in the college game, been doing it for over a decade, is our number 4 candidate, Michigan's running backs coach, Mike Hart. I'm not going to tell you why Josh Gaddis is not going to be on my list today, the exact reason, but I think there's a reason that that has less to do with coaching, that Josh Gaddis won't be a serious candidate for this job. And so if Michigan's going to look internally, Mike Hart makes the most sense because he's been an associate head coach at Indiana, right? Doesn't mean really much. He's never been a coordinator, though. And he's a Michigan guy, right? And you could see him being someone like maybe we thought with Jim Harbaugh, that will just embody everything the program has, have support, wide support from all the fans. I don't think if he was Mike Hart, Clemson all-time running back that happened to be Michigan's running backs coach, or Mike Hart, Oklahoma former running back that happens to be coaching Michigan now, I don't think he'd be a candidate, just to be frank with you guys. But because he did go to Michigan, because I can have all the maize and blue glory and the culture that Michigan expects, I think he is going to be a serious candidate for this job. But I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think? I'm going to see what you guys think about the live stream. Let me know down in the comments when you're watching this on demand. Is Mike Hart qualified to be Michigan football head coach? I want to know what you guys are thinking, because he is the most likely candidate of all of the people on this staff. Type Y for yes, type N for no. I say no, but I'm putting him on the list because connecting the dots and everything that I think we're going to see over the next couple weeks here, I think he is going to be considered here with he's going to be a very serious candidate. The production team says about 67% no is the voting now. So 130 you said yes, about 2/3 you are saying no, but keep the votes going. It's mostly all no's in the live chat. Let me know on demand as well. It's a name we haven't talked about in a little while, and the shine has kind of come off him, and maybe that's a good thing because maybe Michigan can get him and save a buck or two. I don't know if they'd make him a $10 million offer a year ago if they would have been willing to do that. Matt Campbell, young guy, had success at Toledo, had the most success in the history of the Iowa State football program that they've ever had, right? And he is still a good coach, and I think he's a heck of a motivator, and he's from the state of Ohio, and there's a lot of positive things. Negative things? Well, he's never coached at a big-time school. Okay, well, sure, right? Neither did Jim Harbaugh, right? Stanford's not a big-time school, right? Jim Harbaugh coached the NFL, never at a major school, a powerhouse in college football. But he turned, chicken shit into chicken salad. Is that what people still say at Iowa State? If that's politically correct to say, whatever. But I think that he's still someone that is going to have a very bright future ahead of him as a college football head coach. I don't know if he's going to get Iowa State. I think you got to strike while the iron's hot. He had a team coming back this year that was ranked in the top 10, had a chance to make the college football playoff, win the Big 12. Didn't get it done. And so maybe he's kind of seeing that, look, that's as high as I can take this program, and I need to have a name brand to match my coaching acumen to get there. So we'll see. But I think Matt Campbell, if he's head coach, I'm going to be smiling. I'm going to grade it an A higher for Michigan. Bill O'Brien, if you saw the video we put out to start the portion started the show, or we put out on Wednesday afternoon, our news and rumors on Jim Harbaugh, Bill O'Brien is emerging as a serious candidate for this job, and there are significant rumors out there that say, hey, he has already talked to Michigan either directly or indirectly, potentially back channel through his agent or something like that. And there was a crazy message board genius post of a guy claiming this morning, hey, I have a friend who's a grad assistant at Alabama. Bill O'Brien already offered him a job to be on Michigan staff, which I kind of think is ridiculous. But folks, I am warming up to Bill O'Brien. I'm warming up to him being part of this coaching search, and I would be supportive if he becomes your head coach next year. He had a great turnaround with Penn State. It was one of the more remarkable things we've seen in coaching, a program that was just like toxic. It was as toxic as you could ever get, and players fleeing out of that program, and scholarship reductions of the likes of which we've never seen in college football. And he had two significant winning seasons, and then was a winning coach in the NFL 5 of his first 6 years, went to the playoffs 4 times. Look, you could do a lot worse than Bill O'Brien. If he's going to come back to the college game, I think Michigan should absolutely pursue him, unless you get this guy here who is my number one candidate, and that is Matt Rhule. I've seen some haters on Twitter. Yoder, you said laugh out loud to Matt Rhule. No, I didn't say laugh out loud to Matt Rhule, the coach or the person. I said it to the speculation because it was such a clickbait article from a guy I don't really think is very well read or respected, Jason LaConfort from CBS, who's kind of just a rumor monger saying, oh, Matt Rhule is already putting out feelers. He'd be interested in the Michigan head coaching job. Okay, sure. And maybe he was true, but I didn't necessarily believe it at the time, and I didn't think Jim Harbaugh was going to leave Michigan at the time, so I thought it was a very clickbaity article. But if he is going to make the move to college or get fired eventually, I think it was surprising he can get fired this year, right? 2 years. They haven't had much quarterback talent there, but losing record, had to fire his offensive coordinator mid-season in Joe Brady. He's a successful college coach. He turns programs around. He's a motivator. He is strong on offense and defense, right? His teams always are pretty good on both. I think he could do a lot worse than him, and I would be very supportive of Matt Rhule. I think he's a kind of coach that can get Michigan, consistently winning and competing with Ohio State like Jim Harbaugh did his final year with Michigan. But I want to know from you guys, who is the top external candidate? Guys who are not on the Michigan coaching staff, don't coach for the Wolverines right now. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Matt Campbell, type MC. Matt Rule, my top candidate, type MR. Bill O'Brien, go ahead and type Bob. Or Dave Aranda, my number 6 candidate, who I think is going to end up being in the top 2 or 3 as things get a little further down this coaching search. I'm really liking what I see from Dave Aranda. Go ahead and type DA. Let me know what you guys think the top external candidate for the Michigan football head coaching job. All right, we're going to do one more round of audience live Q&A over the next 10, 12, 15 minutes. So use hashtag Michigan, or if you want to super chat, look, you guys are probably, if you're watching the show, it already means you're very smart. Probably very good looking too, but if you're smart, you probably make some nice cash. So you can donate some to me, super chat, right? Can't you? Can you? Please do. So we got some super chats. So if you guys want a shout out here, type me, type Go Blue. Just light up the comments right now. Before we dive into the next Q&A, I'll give some shout outs to the audience who wants a super chat. So type me, type sup, type Go Blue. Let me know. I'll start giving some super chats out here. Jimmy Bailey says Fleck. He wants PJ Fleck to be the head coach. And yes, Zachary saying, hey, what about PJ Fleck? Not on my top 10 list, but I could see him being the coach, right? If all those other guys don't, have any interest or Michigan can't land him, yeah, PJ Fleck could be a fallback candidate, and it'd be a little bit of a bummer because he hasn't been successful as much as we thought at Minnesota, but he'd be one that would have been a top candidate in years past. Tyrone Wheatley, Pete Carroll, any of the 4 would be awesome. Type me if you want to shout out, by the way. We're going to start audience Q&A here in just a moment, or you could super chat, but we will continue to roll on, so type me in the comments, and then we will get some of these questions answered. Do you want to put up the pizza question? We can answer that right now. We're going? No, I didn't know you put it up there. I didn't see it go over there. Okay, cool. We'll talk more about the Michigan football coaching situation and who we think could be the Wolverines' next head coach and all the rumors. Get your questions now using hashtag Michigan. This Michigan football mailbag is presented by Manscaped. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Go to manscaped.com, use promo code GoBlue, get the Lawnmower 4.0, and make Valentine's night a night to remember, and not a night that there's just some a lot of excess hair and things going on downtown. Promo code GoBlue gets you 20% off and free shipping. Link down in the comments and in the description. We're taking your questions here on the Michigan Football Report. From Keith White is our first question. Do you think JJ will transfer if Jim does leave? What a question. It's a really tough question to answer. I don't know where J.J. McCarthy's head is at right now, but I do believe he committed to Jim Harbaugh probably more than he committed to Michigan. And he probably would have committed to Ohio State had they not chosen another quarterback, Kyle McCord, over him kind of towards the end of their sophomore year as 2 5-star quarterbacks. So I'll say no, at least he'll play the 2022 season, right? And if the offense doesn't match what he's, his skill set, if the program's losing maybe, or if he doesn't think he's getting a fair shot at the starting job with, Cade McNamara still having 3 years of eligibility as well, then you could see him. But I do think JJ or Cade, one of them will transfer after the 2022 season regardless. So if Cade's the guy and he leads Michigan to another Big Ten title and he's going to get the job again in 23, sure. But I don't think you're going to see J.J. McCarthy walk away at earliest before April, May comes, the end of the semester, so he'll go through a full spring practice and know where he stands with this next head coach. Ryan H., why isn't Joe Brady's name being mentioned? Well, because the shine has really fallen off, kind of come off Joe Brady. A year and a month ago, he was widely considered a 34 years old, 33, 34, a head coaching candidate for the NFL, not just college football, for the NFL. But then, he didn't have the greatest offensive talent college football has ever seen anymore like he did at 2019 with LSU. And he had to, compete with, equally or lesser skilled talent players with no quarterback situation and injured running back. And apparently didn't get along with his head coach, Matt Rule, very well because they fired him in the middle of the season. So he's not getting offensive coordinator offers in the NFL anymore. He's going to likely end up as a quarterbacks coach this year. So, he is. Okay, so sorry. He was named Bill's QB coach, so that's just kind of breaking here in the last few hours. I did hear that before we went on live. So that's why the shine has really come off him. He's got to now reprove that it wasn't a one year kind of a blip in the radar that he had a great offense. But since then, before then, could you really say that Joe Brady was any kind of whiz kid coach? I think that 2019 team made us think of his coaching acumen a little more than it probably was. All right. Pick one of these, all right? and a little bit of innuendo there. All right, so let's just think about when we're talking about our personal grooming. Mr. Clean, all right, Mr. Clean, or George W. Bush, okay? So Mr. Clean, W. Bush, I'm pointing to the area. You guys know what I'm talking about, so don't make me say it. Do not make me say it. Which one do you prefer? I guess you could talk about the person, George W., and the product, Mr. Clean. You could, if you want to vote on that. But I'm kind of talking about your own personal grooming habits. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, because I got to vote for Mr. Clean because I use Manscaped 2-3 times a week, right? Taking the shower with me, got a little light. I trim it up. The Lawnmower 4.0 is what I use. It's what's going to make this Valentine's Day one that I look forward to, and the lady in my life looks forward to as well, because they don't have to kind of like, go through the George W. Bush down there to get to the prize, if you get what I'm saying here. So go to manscaped.com. Make sure you use promo code GOBLUE at checkout. You get any of the products 20% off. They've got ball deodorant. They've got cream. They've got nose hair trimmers if you want to get crazy there. Some lotions and other things. But I use the Lawnmower 4.0. That's the one I put on the screen. Normally $90, right? High quality product. I've had one for about 2 years. It's still in perfect condition. Get it for $71.99, 20% off, and free shipping. Send the link. Send this promo code to the lady or guy in your life if you want them to buy it for you. Manscaped.com. Promo code GOBLUE is where you got to go. Make sure if you do get it and things are going well on Valentine's Day, you say, hey, thank you to James Yoder for recommending Manscaped. We don't need the picture there. We're ready for another question here. We can toss it up on the thing. We got a question coming in from Drunken Sam Webb without a profile photo. And producer my ear is like, I'll get a photo for Webb. But apparently the user who's calling himself Drunken Sam Webb, I doubt it's really the real guy, but still funny enough that someone on YouTube has that name. Do you think the pay cut last year was the reason Jim Harbaugh left Michigan? Knowing what I know now, at the time, I would say no, right? Harbaugh, well, I'm betting on myself. I do this job for free. I'm going to give the $2 million back to staffers. But maybe it's an ego thing. Maybe when Mel Tucker, who, by the way, is 2-0 versus Jim Harbaugh, gets a $9.5 million deal, and then Penn State gives their head coach an $8.5 million deal, James Franklin, and Jim Harbaugh's got a winning record against him and beat up on him several times. That if Michigan wasn't putting that to the table or even exceeding that for this as a reward for this Big Ten championship season, I could see that being a reason. Or did that just fracture the relationship with Michigan's administration, Ward Manuel, Mark Schlissel, who's now the outbound president? I think it's probably better or not that was a significant factor in him considering the big NFL job after he reached the goals that he kind of had set out, at least for this season, beating Ohio State, winning the Big Ten college football playoff. Sean Payton as a wild card? Yeah, I mean, sure. Might be bad timing, all right? Had this job open up a year ago, maybe Sean Payton is more of a candidate. Had it open up a year from now, maybe he is probably a stronger candidate. But he probably is going to stick to his guns on taking a year off or, taking a year from coaching, potentially going on TV. There might be some openings on Fox and some others being an NFL analyst. I don't think he's going to step away from the Saints 2 weeks later, sign up to be Michigan's head coach. But you make the call, you offer him whatever money he's looking for. I think one of the better offensive coaches of generation and a program manager. No matter if Drew Brees was successful, healthy, hurt, or even when they had really no quarterback play at all this year, they were still on the cusp of the playoffs. And I think Sean Payton will be a hell of a coach for Michigan and could keep a stable program going and competitive with Ohio State. Zachary Cook says, what about PJ Fleck? Well, what about him? I mean, this is a coach that lost badly, gave up 50 points by the end of the third quarter, 49, to Joe Milton, right? And the kind of cast of misfits like Giles Jackson and Zach Charbonnet last year, the 2020 season, a bad Michigan team. They went on to lose 4 of the next 5 games, a few of them in absolute blowout fashion. So PJ Fleck, maybe much like Sean Payton, he has had his time to capture the coach. I thought taking that Minnesota job was a weird move, right? I thought he should have held out for a better job because he was like the next generation of Urban Meyer, where he had this undefeated, low, power, group of 5 team in Western Michigan. Took him to a New Year's Six game, and he took the Minnesota job. I thought that was a weird one. Hasn't raised the play level at Minnesota at a high enough level that I think he's a sure thing at Michigan. So he may have lost his window, but if he gets another couple 9-10 win seasons at Minnesota, he'll be a candidate for other big jobs in the future. I just doubt they will be Michigan. All right, I'm going to follow back. I'm probably just going to do it right after we are off filming. So if you've already followed me back, I will. If you're following me, I will follow you back. But I also make this this pledge to the folks that are watching this on demand. I think we're going to put this video out on Friday or Saturday. So if you see this on Friday or Saturday and you follow me back, I will then follow 10 people the day the video goes out on demand. But I'm also doing it here on the live Michigan Football Report signing day spectacular, although nothing really happened. We're talking more about Jim Harbaugh and his future with Minnesota, with the Vikings, and what Michigan's future looks like as head coach. Do you think there are any assistant coaches that stay on no matter what, who the next head coach is? Yeah, I certainly think there are. I think Mike Elston is probably one of those coaches, right? He just came over from Notre Dame, and he's got a multi-year contract that I'm sure Michigan just doesn't want to eat by firing him. So that's one. I doubt he's going to want to take 2 jobs in a matter of weeks. So he probably will. From what his contract looks like, unless there's language that we just haven't seen yet, he took a pay cut, right? He's probably just ready for a fresh start. Didn't want to, work under a new regime, a new coach there. Come back to where he, played and coached for a while himself. So I think he's one. I think Mike Hart probably is too. If he feels that he has upward trajectory with that coach, maybe in an offensive coordinator role, co-offensive coordinator role, associate head coach, I think Mike Hart has been wanting to coach at Michigan for a number of years, and he would stick on as well. And I'd have to assume a guy like Steve Clinkscale, who has only been 1 year with the program, is on the fast track to be maybe a defensive coordinator under this next coaching staff. Who knows? I think at least those 3 guys, maybe Sharon Moore, but he'll probably have less of an affinity, but still will probably take a shot at keeping the same job he has. Pete Carroll. Yes, I know who Pete Carroll is. I agree that he exists. They're saying as coach. No, I wouldn't consider that at this point. Now, Pete's an interesting cat. Coach of USC for the aughts, right? 2002, 2001 to 2009, 10 it was, and got into the NFL. What was the difference between the NFL, his first 2 tenures with the Jets and the Patriots, where he got fired after a couple of seasons each, 500 coach, versus the Seahawks? Well, it's Russell Wilson, right? I mean, that's the difference, right? He has a top 5 Hall of Fame level, Super Bowl level quarterback, and that's the reason. But they've fallen off. He's not going to get fired, but he probably is going to be on the hot seat next year. And I think probably, I don't want to be ageist here by any means, but he's got to be approaching 70, right? Like, I don't think you want to hire a coach that's been out of the college football game for a decade now and is approaching 70, because he's only going to be there for a few years anyways. Let's subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I just want to emphasize again how appreciative we are of everyone who watches the show. I read almost every comment, and it's tough to keep up with them since we're getting 300, 400, 500, 600 comments per show. Respond to as many as I can, but I certainly read nearly all of them, and I appreciate it. And I recognize a lot of the names when you guys are commenting. Hey, I've seen this guy, I've interacted with him, and you start following me on Twitter. But subscribe if you haven't. Get part of the community. The comment section is just always a lot of fun in there. See what people think. And then if you haven't yet, send the link, youtube.com/MichiganTV, to a friend who's a Michigan football fan. Hayfield Hermit. I hope that's your real name, because that's an awesome name. Can anyone else recruit better than Tom Brady? Probably not, if you think about it, right? Like, let's talk about his recruiting as a guy, right? Bridget Moynihan, kind of a babe, right? That was his girl, has a kid with her, right? Okay, cool. Then, kind of on the side, has Giselle, ends up marrying Giselle. Then he recruits Randy Moss, and I don't know who's the running back from the Bengals. Antonio Brown. There was that running back from the Bengals that came over and started with the Patriots a while back. Leonard Fournette. Got Gronk to come out of retirement. Started a best-selling author, right? So I think Tom Brady could recruit. I don't think he's, even if he was a candidate, which he's frankly not. We put him on our top 10 list kind of for fun because he just retired. But him and his wife combined have made over $1 billion in their respective careers, 20-plus years each. And Tom Brady's got a, business ventures, TB12, and they're doing a lot of cool things. He's got all kinds of things going on with athletes. He's got a clothing brand now coming out. The last thing you want to do if you're worth $500, $600, $700 million, folks, is call 16 and 17-year-old kids and ask them what they're doing this week. And if they please come to Michigan and give them a chance. But, hey, Tom Brady's son, by the way, he's got a son that's going to be in high school here in the next couple of years. He said recently, my son's going to play quarterback at Michigan one day. He said that in the last couple of months. So maybe Brady's just going to be a Michigan football dad one of these days. All right, that was the scripted show, folks. So let's get the Bosas going. And Michigan's now going to be an underdog coming into this next season to Ohio State, right? They've got one of the top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 running backs, probably the best wide receiver in the country coming back on offense. And who cares if they have on defense if they can score 50 points a game. And the game's in Columbus. Michigan's losing more players than we expected. So I'm not giving up hope though. All right. I'm gonna stick to Bosa. I'm gonna stick to convincing. I don't want to say that this show was responsible for beating Ohio State, but I certainly damn well think that we started the conversation. I was trolling their social media accounts for months last year. Every time they tweeted, beat Ohio State again, right? Down the thing. So if you guys are with me that this rivalry is not over because of Jim Harbaugh leaving, type Bosa. There's Lighten Up, Steve Brown, Becky and Chad, Hayfield Hermit, Kansas City Born, Keith White, Big Daddy, Jeffrey Russell Jr. says, Muck Fishigan. That guy, I'm getting, Jeffrey, apologize, please, and click on ads so we can make some revenue from your clouding. Let me give a few shout outs here, if you don't mind. Give a couple shout outs to the new followers, Brett, if that's cool. Unless we're getting kicked out of the studio by those fat cats and big wigs here at Chat Sports. Matt Carrier. All right, well, hey, Matt, we got it. Okay, so I've got a handful of people. I'm going to follow these folks. I got Johnny Flynn. I'm going to hit the follow afterwards. I'm not going to bore you guys with watching me use Twitter. Johnny Flynn. I got Bo Weens. I've got Keat On, who's at KeatN34. Jason Clark. Alex, whose name is Lightnin McQueen. I'm sorry, with no G. That's the Cars character. Ron, Sunday, Robert Goodman, John Francis, Maze Rage. Is that the Maze Rage? At Blue JSG, at Marky Mark, at Fired Up, and Drake. Bert, we might have got more followers than expected. No, so Buckeye Farmer. Not following that guy back. What a jerk. So I think that's about 15, 20 people that have followed. So appreciate to all those of you guys that have followed. And if you gave, well, I do give those shout outs. I said I give people shout outs, Brett, if they retweeted the pin tweet. I haven't gone back to that yet. So let's see. Disappointing. Only 5 retweets. I thought you guys were better than that. Disappointing. Thought you had my back. It's very sad. They call me Smitty at JXB0061 retweeted it. Jason Clark retweeted it. Keith White Jr. retweeted it. Dirtbag Lefty, who's at Jerry Morrissey 9, and then Rick, Florida Rick at JJim_Smith. One of the biggest Michigan football message boards insiders and Twitter lunatics of all time, retweeted it as well. So if you're watching, Rick, or if you just saw on Twitter, shout out to you, buddy. Hope this coaching search makes you absolutely lose your mind with all the crazy rumors that are going to be out there. But you keep tweeting them, buddy, because I will keep reading them. Are we looping or we're just ending? And then, okay, we're going to end the show here. All the show, everything you saw today will be on demand. We'll have the recruiting stuff up here in a little bit. Jim Harbaugh rumors as well today, and then the audience Q&A, question and answer, and the coaching search I'm going to put up about midday tomorrow, the top 10 candidates. If you missed any of that or if you want to go back and watch it, make sure you subscribe. We will be back with more programming as soon as we know more about Jim Harbaugh and what the future at the coaching position looks like. Until then, folks, go Blue.